We're on. So tonight we're going to be talking to Mr. David Robinson, who is Daniel Robinson's dad. Daniel Robinson went missing in June of 2021 in Arizona. I know a lot about the case because I follow Mr. Robinson and listen to his lives and go on his go on the websites and things like that. So I'm not going to talk too much today. As y'all can see, I'm not feeling very well either. However, the show must go on. Um, Mr. Robinson, first tell us a little bit about Daniel.
Yeah. First, thank you for having me. Yeah, Daniel.
Mm.
He's the youngest of his siblings, and what youngest boy of the siblings. And we grew up in Columbia, South Carolina, where we all natives of South Carolina, and he grew up there. And Daniel, from childhood, like I would say often, is a person who's strives to and strives and challenges everything that he can. So one of the biggest parts about Daniel that anybody would notice is that he was born without a right hand. But that right there is a distinguishing factor with Daniel. That shows you his drive because it never did slow him down. Some would think of it as a handicap, but Daniel did not. Growing up, like I said, he just simply just showed us how and it really teaching us as parents how he's what he wanted to do, and when he wanted to do it, he actually do it. But yes, he graduated out of AC Flores High School there in South Carolina, in Columbia, South Carolina. He graduated with honors from there, but went on to college to study geology. Yes, he went to study geology, and that's one of the things that became his passion. It wasn't at first. I can't say that Daniel he's kind of very undecided the first year. He said he wanted to do geology, but he still was undecided. He took the class, and then he really fell in love with it. And from that point, excuse me, from that point, he, like I said, he excelled in that. Daniel, being a really friendly or an oriented, family oriented person, he quickly made friends. I can't back. I'm gonna backtrack it just a little bit. When Daniel was younger, he and his siblings were, more of a. We had them kind of sheltered in some aspects. It probably was not that great, but we, as parents, kind of
Wait a
shelter
minute.
our children. You probably understand that.
No, I don't understand. Go. What do you mean shelter them?
Well,
Like, no, you can't go here. You got a curfew and things like that.
well, they did. They had each other. The siblings. For instance, that it's that family dynamic was building that family dynamics. Of course, they siblings going to have sibling rivalry, so they had the thing. I had this thing where they get in arguments. They had to sit there and hold each other and give each other hugs. But I'm saying where the shelter part come from is from his mother and I. We was high school sweethearts at the time. We grew up in the same neighborhoods. We grew up in the same area of Columbia, and when we see a rampant of police brutality to you name it, and so we experienced that type of life growing up. We kind of sheltered our children away from that kind of stuff. So we made sure my children was put into some of the schools that would give them better education. Because to be honest with you, some of the things that we had to go through in our education was that we had friends to get hand me down books and things like that. So I want to make sure that my children get the best education that they can. And so some of that was sheltering from that police brutality, and as well as some of the things that we've seen happening in the communities. But to keep going on about Daniel, oh, you want to keep going on about Daniel?
Yes, I want to show this picture of Daniel.
Yes, yes, yeah.
I
That's
love
him.
that look. I love that look.
Yeah.
Like, is that a selfie or did somebody take that?
I think it's a selfie, if I remember correctly. He did that over his grandparents' house. We're on his grandmother's house. He took that picture. Just taking that picture, I can tell you a little background on that too. Daniel, and I say this often, he um, literally, like I said, being a family-oriented person, he literally loved to spend time with his grandparents. And
Oh,
where you see some younger folks, yeah, they say they love their grandparents and be around just a little bit, and then they're gone. But then he made sure he make it a special event to go see his grandparents, and I really admire him for that. And I talked about how he did even during the COVID time to leave Arizona and just to get there to see his grandparents and, talk to him. In this picture, of course, it wasn't COVID time, but talk to his grandparents through a window, you know what I'm saying? Because they want to make sure he's not
Oh,
exposing them to anything, but he just needed to see his grandparents. So, like I was saying, that is Daniel, that person that would, you know, bring family together when we have conflict. So that's the picture. That's one of the pictures there. So
so you know, I'm hearing you talk a lot about he was. I'm gonna take this down real quick. You're talking about him being a family man. So that in itself should tell everybody this man did not walk off by himself. Something actually had to happen. Would you say the same, Mr. Robinson?
exactly, exactly. I think everybody know. I was a single parent too, and being a single parent, you know, you watch your children, or just being a parent, period. His mother as well. You watch your children growing up, and you know their mannerism. You know, the way they think. You know, you don't know everything about it because everybody have their own individual thought, but you have a great idea of the way a person would think, and some of their actions are like some of the things I was just talking about. Yes, of course. It's been apparent to us once I did my due diligence that day. Daniel went missing. That you know, he's out inside his pattern. He's outside of what he would do. Yeah, we knew for a fact that something wasn't right, and that, you know, things went wrong. So yes, of course, way out of character. Daniel would not just try to leave life as it is just because, without telling his parents or without telling his siblings why. He wanted to, he know how our family dynamics. If, like, say, he wanted to be a sailor or something, I don't know, a pirate. I'm just making up some crazy thing. We're like, man, you want to be a pirate? Why you want to do that? You know, but we would listen to him. You know what I'm saying? We listen to him. Of course, we want to talk him out of certain things. Of course, that's try to anyway. But if he ultimately, as a man, make a decision, he say, "Hey, Dad, I just want to leave life as it is, and I just want to be by myself. I want to go live in as a hermit somewhere." We would accept that. But at least we'll know he's okay.
Mhm. And he knows that. He knows
He knows
that.
that.
You
Yeah,
know
he
that you
definitely knows
guys
that. He
were
can talk to us about
accepting.
anything.
Um,
Right.
and you know that's a big thing to me how police don't understand that. We know our loved ones. They don't know our loved ones. Um they usually say they're either runaways for kids, especially if they're black or brown, and then if they're around adults, that they just want, like, how are you to tell us? And maybe we need to fix that somehow. But I think, and this is just my personal opinion, I think that you're doing that with everything that you have going on. Like, again, your lives, I'll be at work and my phone will say, please help find Daniel's going live, and I'm like, whoop, let's go on. Like, you're on all the time, and I
Yes.
love that. I love that. I love the way that you, man, you don't know how amazing that you really are. You
I really
really don't.
appreciate that. But you know how I feel about you too, that your work that you're doing as well. So, but yes, yes, thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. Trying to do the best I
No
can, you
problem.
know. Yeah, and this I
Let's
can't
talk
tell you
about
the
this
picture. Yes, go ahead.
picture. No, tell us about this picture.
Yes, yes, yes. Daniel, this is a picture when that actually to tell you guys, this is the last time this event was the last time I see my son personally. And this event was his sister's wedding. He came down to South Carolina to attend his sister's wedding, and we spent time on this day. And you know, I want to give some context to some of the things you guys may have heard in Daniel's case from Buckeye Police Department or some of his co-workers, right? That only knew him for a fraction less than 3 years of his life. Um, I can't tell you Daniel Hare. I laugh at it right now because I remember when I said it to him that day. But his hair. Daniel, someone says that Daniel all of a sudden cut his hair off or something out of it, right? Like they thought it was strange. It's some kind of sign of him going through something and all kind of crazy stuff. I can tell you, Daniel, if you look at these pictures, Daniel changes hair all the time. He'll grow it long. And this is the first time I seen him doing. I said, "Man, what that is in your hair? What you doing with that stuff in your hair? What's that?" You know, but but you know, he would do different things all the time. So that's his character. He changes the hairstyle in a minute. So when I saw that the last time I saw him, it wasn't as short as mine, of course, but it was definitely short. And then he grew it out. And I mean, his hair grew really quick. He grew it out, and I don't know how he got it that long that fast, but grow it out, and then you know. But anyway, I just want to say that was his sister's wedding, and we the last time I actually seen him in person, and
What day was that?
it's her. Yes.
What month or date was that?
That was oh gosh. So you put me on that one because his sister was like, you can't remember my wedding day. So I just know it was in the spring. It was the spring right when it was right the year after I
Um,
guess we were kind of released from the stay at home type deal. People still worrying
mm,
about the COVID, but if you see the weather picture, you see why. I just can't remember. I know it's around the spring area of the year. You see the weather picture, you see me the only one with a mask on my face, but uh, but yeah, it's around that time of the year.
oh, okay. Can you give us a little more insight on exactly what they told you happened on the day that I'm going to take this down on the day that Daniel went missing?
Well, the day of Daniel going missing, it was, one of those things where you talk to law enforcement, and it's more of I've giving them information. Of course, law enforcement should be taking information and things like that. But some of the things I would have liked to have done, of course, wasn't done on that day. For instance, I needed the welfare check. I need somebody to actually go inside Dave's apartment because of certain things. Go ahead.
Well, let's go backwards. Like, how did
Okay.
you find out that Daniel was missing?
Well, yes, I was sitting out right here in my home in Columbia, South Carolina. I was, being a retired military guy. Sometimes you want to find your area where you just winding down. Life is good at the moment. I'm giving you a backdrop. Life is good. My children doing well for themselves. And then I received a phone call in my favorite spot in my favorite chair from my daughter who was living in Phoenix at the time. She was really upset. It wasn't upset that Daniel was missing. It was upset because she didn't know. Well, I can't say when he was missing because she didn't know what was going on. Because one of the coworkers she said came to her house. She was really worried because she didn't know how the guy know where she lived. But came to her house looking for Daniel. And being that's the case, and she's like, "Hey, what's wrong with Daniel? Why are you looking for him?" That kind of upset her a lot. So of course, she's gonna reach out to me, and so that's when I had to indicate like, okay, well, why they looking for him? So I making phone calls, and also had my daughter and someone else to go with her to check his apartment out and see if he was
Mm,
there. So because what it was told to her is that he was at a job site and they didn't see him since that morning, and he was gone, and nobody know where he's at the job. So, that's the first time I heard any kind of indication that something may be wrong with Daniel.
was he meeting someone at the well site? Again, I'm very familiar with your with the case because I listen to you all the time. But I'm asking
Yeah,
questions that some people may
yeah,
have.
yeah. Well,
Was there anybody there?
further on, and of course, I as a parent, you already going to be putting your own investigation on, whether you know it or not. That's what you're doing, because you ask a lot of questions, and so I was questioning the job, Matrix New World. Talked to some of the workers there, his supervisor, and that's when I was able to get some of those information that he was scheduled to two well sites that day. They say he completed that one, and he was on the way that morning to meet a second person. There's a person, and they didn't say anybody at the first well site with him, but the second well site, he was to meet a guy from a different company called Weber Waterworks, and he's went there to meet with him to work on a well site in that area. And so, yes, it was. That's when I first got the indication of Daniel working with somebody.
Gotcha. So I'm sorry. I'm gonna um I'm gonna add this other picture. I think. Okay, you want to go to the next slide? Another picture of
Yeah,
him. Listen, he
yeah.
looks like you. I always
I
say that to
appreciate that.
you, but my goodness, like, I'm gonna get a little personal here. When you see these pictures of Daniel, tell me what comes to your mind and to your heart. Do you get angry? Does it push you more? What
Well,
emotionally?
I
How do you feel?
It's a combination of a lot of things, at moments, it is all of that, what you just said. It just depends on, the
Mhm.
situation at the time. A lot of times the anger comes when, there's answers right there, there's things that need to be taken care of, and then law enforcement not moving. The other things is the fact that, I know in my heart's a heart that foul play happened in my son's case, just don't know what that definition actually means, but, and why I can't be there to rescue my son and help him in a certain situation if that's the case. So yeah, every time I see pictures, it brings back a lot of memories. It brings back the moments where he and I would talk for 2 hours, but
Mhm.
then it also remind me that I don't have Daniel to have those
Mhm.
conversations anymore. So he's been reduced down to pictures and reduced down to listen to voicemails and things like that, recordings. And
Right,
that's not
right.
Daniel. Daniel's a very livable person. If you guys see all the pictures that I
Mhm.
have of Daniel with his friends, you be like, man, yeah, he's almost like the life of the party. So definitely, he's definitely not an isolated type person. So it's yeah, it bothers me a lot. It bothers me a
Um,
lot in different ways.
I think for a woman, we're emotional creatures. So really, when I look at you as a man, as a father, you are a protector. So that's kind of how I look at it. Like, we think with our hearts, and y'all are like, no, I gotta protect him. I gotta protect him. So I can understand like how hard that
Right.
must be. And a lot of people, don't understand that when they don't have missing persons in their family, they don't understand how we feel. And that's not
Right.
a bad
Right.
thing. That's absolutely a good thing. You don't want to be part of this group. It's not fun. But the only way that we can get closure is by helping us. In social media is social media. It's a community. We have to help those that need help. All of us do. No matter if we have a missing person, a murdered family member, or whatever, we got to get out there and put some boots on the ground. We have to have the community help share flyers. We have to have community go out there and talk. Put pressure on the police. Put pressure on the news channels. I know when Kaya first went missing, I
Mm.
I called like so many TV stations and one ended up coming, and I mean over and over and over and over. Do you feel like you had that problem when you went out to Arizona, especially like
Mm.
a place that you didn't know?
Yes. In fact, it took 3 months to even get Daniel Case on that national stage. But yeah, that first month, Daniel going missing, yeah, it was just like you said, it's very hard to even have a local channel to even take the story. I had called a lucky break with one gentleman, Josh Sanders was his name, and Nicole Griggs is another from two different networks, reporters who are trying to, I guess, I don't know if they're trying to get a name for themselves or get up in the ranks, but they the one pitched Daniel's story out to their news channels and finally got it on, finally got it on the air. So yeah, it's a struggle and it's sad. You guys, and you understand, like you said, with Kaya. Trying to get someone to take her story and but you got to think about it, Katrina. That's exactly what happens with families. What we have to go through a lot of times,
Mhm,
not all families, but the vast majority, we have to go through just to try to get their loved one's story on the air. And it's very important to
mhm.
the piece of what we're trying to do is helping families, like you said, make sure the most important piece is to get that story out there really quick, because then eyes and ears are all over the place looking. And so, yes, it's very important. But yes, it's hard, very hard to get it going.
Absolutely. I often think about when Gabby Petito came up missing. That's when I learned about Daniel's case. They were, the disparities in white and black, and that really like touched my heart, and that's why I've been like following. And I've told you over and over and over, you're like Ja Rule to me. You're like this
I
awesome
appreciate
man that goes out there and
it.
just fights and does what he has to do, and it's an honor to even know you and to be able to speak with you and to have you on here. um and again, even when you were at the event, I thank you so much for that as well. Let's go to some more pictures.
Yeah,
Can
this
you talk about that?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. This is one of the pictures of the few that I got from law enforcement. I have many others from the rancher who actually found the vehicle. But at the scene here is the picture of the vehicle. For those who don't know Daniel's story, Daniel's Jeep was found almost 30 days after he went missing on June the 23rd, 2021. On July 19th, the vehicle showed up in this ravine. The picture is deceiving because it's actually a 20-foot ravine, goes straight down. Of course, the picture make it look a little more flat. But the ravine
Mhm.
is where the vehicle found almost 3 miles away from where Daniel was allegedly last seen. And it's lying on the side. You can see here everything on Daniel's body, allegedly everything that's on Daniel's body is 3 feet away from the vehicle, from down from his underwear down to his sock, and of course the boots there as well. But the story behind that is law enforcement felt that the vehicle Daniel himself drove down this ravine at 30, roughly near 30 miles per hour. Hit the bottom ravine. The vehicle flipped and rolled and twisted and landed on the side. But according to law enforcement, Buckeye Police Department, he sustained no injuries because they didn't see with their eyes any blood in the vehicle, and also that he was wearing a seatbelt because the way the seatbelt locks after a crash, and that he because and they double talk themselves, of course. They say because they feel that he had a severe brain injury from the crash. He exited the vehicle by kicking his way out the sunroof. That's why if you see a picture, I believe it's here, you see the glass on the ground, and that's where the glass came from, the sunroof. We later found out, of course, I can tell you guys up front, it's not any glass from the vehicle at all. But he
Oh,
kicked his way out of the sunroof and exited the
say that
vehicle.
again. We found out that that's.
Well, I have the evidence
I'm
from my
sorry.
investigation and my investigator. Of course, that glass do not belong to the glass here on the ground. You can see it here. Do not belong to this window.
Oh,
This only glass actually got broken out in the entire vehicle, but it don't belong to those two. Don't go together, and definitely didn't come from here because Jeep Renegades do not have glass as a sunroof like typical vehicles. They just only have hatch, right? And this is the hatch that
right.
goes here, but you guys can see it's under the vehicle that goes here. Unless Daniel's a superhero, he would not be able to put it, um, you know, up under there, like that. So the thing is, that's the story. The Buckeye police say, hey, he got out of there, and because of the head injury, that's what made him shred his clothes off. You can see the picture here. Shred his clothes off because he felt like he was hot. And then they say they feel like he ran off somewhere and probably hid up on a tree to cool off because he felt like he was hot, and a wild animal came and ate him. But then they later decided to tell me that they believe that maybe he just wanted to be away from his family, join the monastery, and become a monk. Of course, that's the assessment of
Shut up.
law enforcement. Oh yes,
Are
this
you
is fact. This is what they actually come out of law enforcement's mouth. Yes, and
what?
so of course that's what made me get my own personal private investigator to look at everything from that point.
Okay, and that was my next question.
Yep.
You're the PI that was working on, the vehicle. What? How did he say that sunroof got under the front of the car? That doesn't make sense. Like if it tumbled over, why would that piece be under the front?
Right, and what he did, Mr. McGrath is his name. What he did is he examined the vehicle. Of course, he wasn't here. Law enforcement pulled his vehicle without doing any forensics. Pulled it from the scene, from the crime scene, and of course, I had to take it out of the police department and put it in evidence in my own personal storage facility where it is now, where it's located now. But what he did, he examined the crime scene as well as the damage on the vehicle. He found that the damages on this vehicle do not match the terrain. Under this vehicle, on the passenger side, is red transfer paint. The vehicle came in contact with something red. There's nothing red in the desert. We have two impressions on the windshield. Someone took something and beat the windshield. We do have the scratch here, but the windshield, and the vehicle did not roll as law enforcement want everybody to believe. There's no damage on the rooftop. Of course, this arrow is not bent, etc. It is so much about the vehicle, but what he did is examine the vehicle itself, also the data from the vehicle. Law enforcement didn't know how to read the black box data; they didn't read it at all. But he read the black box data, got information. That's why we got the 11 additional miles the vehicle's cranked up 46 times after the airbags deployment. Every airbag in the vehicle, the passenger and the driver's side, deployed. So there's obviously two people in the vehicle from the passenger side as well. And it is so much. What he found, what I'm saying to get to the bottom of it, what he found is that the vehicles was staged in this location. It was put there, and so that would probably most likely explain when the vehicle was put there, why those panels are sitting under the vehicle, etc. Things like that. So it
Is
may.
there
He didn't say anything about this, but that may be how that got up under there. I'm not sure.
yeah. And you said you have this in storage that you pay for yourself. Um,
Yes, yes.
is with it being there, will it disintegrate any forensics that may be in there now?
And
You
that's
know what I'm
one of the
saying?
problems I have. Well, the place I have, I can tell you that's what they do. They store evidence vehicles. I pay a lot of money for that.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, they do it for insurance companies, but I pay a
okay.
lot of money for that, and I can tell you because law enforcement didn't do any forensic at the scene here. That's this picture comes from law enforcement. It's their picture, one of their pictures here, and they didn't do any forensic at the scene. I can't say they messed up the chain of custody in the event that someone come forward and say, "Hey, I did this," blah blah blah. Any defensive person be able to get that person off for this case based on how law enforcement handles Daniel's vehicle, etc. But like I said, the reason why I'm holding on to it is because of exactly what you're saying. I need the red transfer paint check to see where it came from. I need those clothing that you see on the scene here. See where they came from. If that's indeed Daniel's clothing, and if it is Daniel's clothing, it should have like airbag residue on it because when airbags deploy, it has powdery substance that goes into your fabrics. And also, the airbags need to be tested in the vehicle because they contain DNA. Airbags hit you, they rubbing off DNA. So there's a lot of things that need to be tested on the vehicle for DNA and find out who this other person was in the vehicle as well. But law enforcement say, hey, he was a sole driver. Like law enforcement told me in the meeting, well, it's his drive. I say, how you know my son was driving? Where's his vehicle? It's obviously he was driving. I'm like, okay. But the thing is, that's the things need to be done. So that's the reason I'm holding on this vehicle as long as I can. But I can tell you, it is in jeopardy of being lost forever because you can't. Money don't grow on trees, you know what I'm saying? And some people would say that, but what I'm saying, this can't come out of the air. So I have to take care of a lot. I still have to take care of home and try and take care of this thing. So what I'm doing is pushing really hard to get law enforcement to process this vehicle the way they should.
And it just behooves me that they wouldn't. I mean, I watched your live a couple weeks ago when you were showing some videos of how the bags deploy when certain vehicles hit, and that just like floored me. Like that just floored. You have two, and I can see them here. You have two airbags, and they do not check that, they don't swab that, or that's just
You have the airbags in the front. You have the side airbags as well. There's side deployment. This vehicle is equipped with the side airbags as well. It's a lot you can test in this vehicle to determine who maybe have been in the vehicle as well. And also, if indeed, like I said, if that's Daniel's clothing on outside, because there was his wallet found in the pants when the pants pull inside out. That if it's his clothes or if it was his, like I said, was he in that vehicle at the time of airbag deployment? So you could get some answers. I really challenge law enforcement. They really, that's what I'm saying, you guys. If you think about it, if they really, really wanted answers, they would do what I'm asking them to do, is process to get these answers. But because they have stalled almost 2 years now and resisting to do these forensics the way they should, I question some of their reasonings. I question the reasons why. I see a lot of potential cover-ups and things like that. So, and I say potential because I have some other things that would say suggest that it is a cover-up. But like I said, I need those forensics to make that 100%.
Another thing, and I'm not trying to put Daniel, having one hand, but how can Daniel get out of the car with a seatbelt on the driver's side and crawl all the way over there and then take his clothes off?
Well, yeah, and the thing is for me
That doesn't
too is
make sense to me.
right, and and what don't make sense to me too as well is law enforcement want to make you guys believe that Daniel wrecked his vehicle, landed in the ravine, and he continued to sit in that driver's seat and press that brake pedal and push that button 46
Right.
times, cranking his vehicle up while it's lying on the side. So, again, another one of those superhero. I know sometimes they try to say is young man like Daniel would be some type of superhuman strength or something out of it they come up with. It's impossible for him to sit in a driver's seat and and crank a vehicle 46 times. So the thing is, they want to defy logics at the same time, put it in the public that they're doing such a great job looking for Daniel. Their only key
Mhm.
evidence of quote doing accepting a bunch of tips that we I send their way, and also to do a few searches, and they feel like they justified in looking for Daniel or justified into
Mhm.
finding out what happened to my son. So of course that's why it's very crucial and important for what I'm doing for my son. I have to continue to do so. I'm doing it in all kind of ways, and Katrina from the back, things I cannot discuss right
Mhm.
now, but I'm doing what I'm doing in the background to make that happen as well. Put more pressure on law enforcement and give me more foot to stand on. That's my real basic reason for what I'm doing in doing in the future here, and as well as help other families. Because when you see things like this, Daniel is America's son, Katrina is America's daughter, and these are what happens to American people every day. And so we have to keep on pushing. We have to keep pushing, especially the disparities that we see, the way certain cases are
Mhm.
handled and some are not. We have to keep on fighting for that.
Well,
And
absolutely.
that's what you're
Do
doing, and
you
I really
still
appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Do you have Daniel's clothes as well?
I do. I have the clothing. I have everything on the scene. Sadly to say, on July, the vehicle found on July the 19th. On July the 22nd, I had a meeting with the Buckeye Police Department, the whole entire staff. I had brought the NAACP representative with me. And in that meeting, after that meeting, the law enforcement detective Biff in that time, Buckeye, asked me where I was parked. I didn't know what was going on. I told him where I was. He said, stay right there until I get there. Pull up with his pickup truck, gave me everything wrapped in evidence bags. Well, in evidence bags, but it's marked for safekeeping. I didn't know that at the time. He put it in the back of the trunk of my vehicle. I took it back to my hotel, and that's when after everything I heard from that meeting, and as well as what was told to me that day when they told me on the 20th when they told me about this vehicle. I got my private investigator, tried to brought him on board. And the first thing he did when he got to my hotel, I gave him everything exactly how they gave it to me. And he stopped in the lobby and he said, look, he showed me that bag. He said, you see this how this marked? He's a police officer himself, former. And he said, this is marked for safekeeping. They felt that after all this they said with brain injury and everything, Daniel was going to come back and get his things. So we're just holding it for him until he come back and get his things. So, and that's the approach that law enforcement did in Daniel's case, and that's how I was able to get everything from the scene. It was given to me. I was threatened. I'm going to tell you on the 20th now, the day after that vehicle was found out here, right here in this picture here. They threatened me at the police department, told me if I didn't get it out of there that day, they was going to have a stored out a total away, and I had to pay storage fees. So you know, right then they wanted me to get move on with life and things to move on. So, like I'm saying, you guys, I've been taking care of this vehicle, been taking care of the clothing for almost 2 years, over 2 years now.
Mm. What can the audience do? Well, I have some more questions, but in
Yeah.
particular with storing the Jeep, what can the audience do to help you keep that?
Well, I have a couple things I would like the audience to do is to go to pleasehelpfinddane.com. And the reason why I say that because I have that petition. That petition is everything that I need to back and everybody who really have my back onto what I'm doing for Daniel need to put their voice to this petition if you can, because what it does, I take it to the Attorney General's office, I take it to the state senators, and I'm taking it to the meeting I'm having this month with Buckeye, with Maricopa County, saying I have thousands of people who's supporting me in my fight to get these forensics done. So I oh, there you go. Yes. So they go to pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and the website you
Mhm.
see here. And, like I said, put that petition button right at the top. That will take you to change.org, and put your voice to that petition, because I really need that. Also, if I have an upcoming search, so of course you can see the search tab, but that's something that will probably come in the spring or summer. But also, if you guys can, there's a donation button as well. That helps me a lot too, because what donation have helped me to do is stay in Arizona at the time to fight. I had to keep my boots on the ground. I asked everybody to help me remain in Arizona from South Carolina, and people help. I also started my own grassroots search. I did 49 weeks of desert search to cover over 35,000 acre land, and we recover other human remains, bringing closure for other families, and that came from the help by everybody who's been donating, being able to provide the equipment to keep people safe, the equipment to do the searches, etc. Also, help, like I said, equipment help with my investigator to provide equipment for them to do things they're doing out there in the desert as well. Also, you guys, I have started my own grassroots city search for my son. At the time, the city search was just focused on hospitals, the homeless shelters, and the mental health wards. But I had expanded that to flyer distribution, and that I have just to today is still going on. The flyer distribution to get Daniel's flyers out all across, not just in Arizona, but all across the country, because that's very important. So you guys can donate if you want to help me continue my fight in those areas. But also, if you want to do flyer distribution, really, really important. There's a flyer tab that's as well there on the page. You can download that flyer, print them out yourself. That helps, and that's a form of donation, because you're taking your own money to print the flyers out and get them out into your community. That helps a whole lot, and that I really appreciate it if you guys can do that. And lastly, Katrina, I'm trying to get your time in also, because I have a lot with that, but also the mail-in protest. It's on the front page of pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. Pleasehelpfinddaniel.com. The mail-in protest is important, because that keep my son case from becoming a cold case. As you guys can hear, it's far from a cold case, because things need to be. There you go. The mail-in protest. Things need to be processed. You get these vehicles processed the right way. You'll have the leads and the information that you need, and that's why I'm forcing law enforcement to do that. So the mail-in protest is exactly what you guys see right there for everybody to participate, no matter where you're at located. To send these picket signs up. They are. If you guys see the pictures there, that's the picket signs. Send them to the police department. Let them know, hey, no justice, no peace. We're going to sit here and fight for Daniel Robinson. We need this forensics done. And these are the two addresses you see: Buckeye Police Department and Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Skinner and Chief Sanders of the Buckeye Police Department, where those will be addressed to. So I need thousands of them out there every week, you guys, as possible. I will be there, like I said, in March. I do have a meeting with the Buckeye Police Department. I'm waiting on answer for the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. So having those picket signs going there is needed. If that don't work, those same picket signs you see will actually be real signs, and we stand out there in front of Maricopa County and all the Buckeye Police Department to get the answers I'm looking for.
Yeah, I think we need to do that anyways.
Yes.
I mean, being honest,
Yeah.
search and go out there and let them know, hey, let's
Yeah,
do
I'm
it
planning
all.
to do
Let's
a
not just
sit-in
stop at
with
one
the
thing.
Maricopa County. Yes,
I
yes,
want
yes.
I want to show also Mr. Robinson also has. I'm sorry, I'm a little slow, guys. I'm
Oh,
starting
that's fine.
to.
Take your time. And you know how I feel about
So
that.
he also has
Yeah.
please help. He also has please help find Daniel on Facebook. Pretty much, if you put please help find Daniel, you're gonna come up with something with Daniel. Your
Yeah.
tenacity with everything you do, like no matter what, you again, you never ever stop. And I'm wondering, like, I know you said you like the hotter the better, but I'm like, yeah, you need to go on down to Florida and get you a little
Yes.
sun. But
Yes. I really want to. If I had my way, Daniel know that too. It's funny because before he went missing, I think it could have been a week before he went missing. He and I had this conversation about Arizona versus South Carolina, and he know I love Florida, and so he liked warm weather too, but he must love that dry heat because oh my gosh, he act like Arizona is the best thing since the invention of sliced bread or something. I mean, that's all he talks about. And Sedona, Dad, you need to come here. You need to live. And I'm like, man, you'll never get me to live in Arizona. Um, but I try to get him down in Florida. So I would love to be by. I have to be by. I'm a water guy. I love to be in the ocean. I like to be around water, that type deal. And but yes, I spent 2 years in Arizona searching for him. So yes. Unfortunately.
Oh, that long. I didn't realize it was that long.
Yes,
Mm.
yes.
So
Wow.
how long would you say it took to get, I'd say, a posse up to help? Like how long did it take, and what did you do, like, to get help? Not just on the national level as far as news and things like that, but actually have somebody boots on the ground to go out there and help you
Well, I have never
in a,
organized
in a
anything in my
town you
life.
didn't even know people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it was hard. I'll be honest, it was hard, but I was, like you said, I was had to be dedicated in my mind. I look at my son's disappearance as my, from a military point as my mission, and I had to treat it that way because that's the way we treat our missions over in Afghanistan. So I had to treat it that way. I've been trained that way. I'm a professional soldier, so I had to approach my son's disappearance that way because a couple things kept me from being emotional. It kept me level-headed and kept my mind focused. And one of the things was that really pushed me to getting in the desert and get people to help me was the fact that I was out there almost every other day or every day almost with my binoculars standing outside on Sun Valley Parkway looking into the desert with my binoculars. And the only thing that separated from me from my son was the desert
Mhm.
itself. I wasn't having that. I wasn't having that at all. So I spent many nights, didn't sleep. I was lucky if I got an hour of sleep. Spent many nights on social media. I started Please Help Find Daniel immediately when I got out there, but on social media, bringing people to Please Help Find Daniel website so they can see pictures and see what happened to my son. I wrote, a whole article thing about the whole thing, everything I learned about Daniel Case at that moment, and then tell the people what I was looking for. I need to get out in the desert. I need anybody or everybody who knows about the Sonoran Desert, who can give me information about it. I've been doing research. I've been Googling the history. I know the whole history of Sun Valley Parkway. I mean, there's everything I can get out for any information and start utilizing that. And what I end up doing is meeting one person out of Buckeye who was like a guide for me, and also was able to get me in touch with people of their community, like little groups and clubs, and then appease to them. The groups and clubs didn't come out, but the members was able to start coming out to that first search. And once that first search came out, I was able to, like I said, get local news, put Daniel's story out there. And when they did that, along with I'm having a search this weekend, then people start pouring in and start growing from that point.
Mhm. Is it true, and I'm trying to remember if I remember this correctly, but um, his truck was found approximately 30 days after he came up
Almost
missing,
30
is
days,
that
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Like 28 days, yes. It's almost 30 days, right. You might as well say 30, yes. Showed up later. I'm gonna tell you something, you
Okay.
guys. Uh, this vehicle was found almost 3 miles away from uh, where Daniel Legend was last seen. Since then, started my own searches. We walked over this area where this vehicle found. What during the time I had the searches called hasty searches, where I was just seeing groups out and they go hiking. Because I learned in Arizona a lot of people like to hike, and I turned that first. My first search was almost like a hiking type deal. People just go spread all over that desert area, just walking together, stay in groups and things like that. And so I'm sure we covered this area, so the vehicle wasn't there. So that's my beliefs. I haven't been in that spot, but I'm sure one of my groups went out that way. But then after that, we've been doing that for every week, you guys. And then Buckeye finally decided they wanted to go out on. I forgot it was almost. I'd say about 3 weeks after Daniel, 2 or 3 weeks, almost 3 weeks after Daniel went missing. They decided to go out and look for him with their own search. They had a Civil Air Patrol team from Maricopa County Posse. These guys literally, first of all, some reason they wouldn't let me in. Guy, they blocked the gate and told me they wouldn't let me go in there with them to help search. I'm the dad now, but they blocked the gate to make sure I didn't come in and sneak in and see what they're doing. They blocked the gate with a vehicle, left one of the vehicles behind that could have been a search vehicle with them, just to make sure I can't come in that gate. And then they went out and they claimed they came back with a map the next day to the
Wow.
public. They said we covered this area, and the area that they claimed they searched with this airplane. I did see them have an airplane. Covered this area, and they say they didn't vehicle wasn't there. They say we didn't find anything. But then when the vehicle showed up on the 19th, people asked, well, how you covered the area you've been there? And you know, now you said the vehicle's there. They say, oh, we just didn't see it. All the trees and stuff was covering it up, and it was. You guys look at this picture. Oh, look at these pictures. You see that there's nothing. You know,
yeah, let's go back to that picture because I don't see no trees.
These things are so low. If you stand there, it almost come to my waistline.
What?
I'm telling you guys, I'm in that area. I know the desert area like this, like the back of my hand. This is the desert. If you guys can look out in this area right here, for instance, this near this area we call Pride Rock. That's where the mountain lion live. But all of this is low brush area. You see a couple of Creole soul trees that's a little high, one or two here and there in different little spots. But they're never over, I say about 7 feet tall. The highest, like this one, may be 7 feet tall. That may be 7 feet tall. But everything else, like this, don't even come to my waistline. You know, so I'm saying, you guys, that that's what Buckeye was saying, to cover themselves up, and that's what I'm saying. Some of those things, I'm telling you guys. Some of those things, I'm laughing about it because I laugh about I've been doing it so
that's
long.
where
I laugh at what the police department do because I know what I'm doing to them. You know, I'm doing what I'm doing to them and what they would have to pay for later on. So that's the reason why I'm laughing. You guys see me laughing about that because it's ridiculous. Every time I look at it, you ask me how my feelings are. My feelings are up, down, all over the place. It's all over the place when I see that law enforcement can get away with certain things just by saying it. If they put it in a report, people believe it. All they do is write it on a paper and they believe it.
Yes.
So things on the ground is not exactly what it seems. Things on the ground is not exactly what they say, is what I'm telling you guys. And I have evidence and proof. And that's the reason why they want to meet with me, because they know I'm starting to release some of these recordings of them and my phone calls with them where they did not search for my son. They did not do this. And Detective Bifford told me the reason why he didn't want to do forensics on the scene. So I'm releasing some things to the public that I know because I'm tired of holding it for years. Saying certain things in public just to keep certain evidence to myself, because I do have to, protect those evidence as well. But it's time coming where some things have to be released to the public so we can have a public jury on things in the sense of what events that happened that day, the day that Daniel went missing.
Absolutely. So Miss Anita wants to know if you can show the car and how did they say that he got out of the car. Can you go to the other picture?
What's that again? I apologize. What's the question? Okay. Let's see it there. Okay.
How did they say that he got out of the car?
Well, they said he kicked his way out of the sunroof, and I that's why I had a video, you guys. This sunroof is 2 panels, a panel here, panel here. This panel that belongs here is right here. It's tucked up under the vehicle. If I zoomed in, hold on, see if I can zoom in real quick here for you. If I can zoom in right there, you see this panel is stuck under the vehicle, right? So is it possible for him to lift that vehicle up and stick it on? That's when the rancher say, hey, let your son a superhero. That boot is kind of tucked up and smashed under the. It don't look like it, but that boot is stuck there too. They say, let your son a superhero. He will not be able to do that. But one thing is that, like I said, it comes 2 panel here, panel there. Now, the reason why this panel is lifted because somebody unlocked it. This right here is out. I guess, like I said, it's down on the ground. Now, I showed you a video about Jeep Renegade. Jeep Renegades, the panels don't come off unless you use a special key. The special key is located behind the steer with the spare wheel in the back of the vehicle. You literally got to open up the hatch, got to go under the where the spare tire is, get that key out, go through the inside and unlock that. It's latches here. It's unlock the latches with the key. It's made with a key before you can get that panel out of there. But they're saying he kicked it out with a superhuman strength. He kicked it out. But you guys look at this vehicle, even though you see the smashing, you don't see any impact marks or somebody's foot kicking that inside portion of that panel. See, the way law enforcement does things is opposite of what I've done. So I'm investigating my son's case, and with my investigator, what he done, it was two separate investigations. I had three. People don't know this. I investigated independently on my own. I hired a private investigator to do his independent investigation, and I have a second PI who's currently still doing some things when it comes to human trafficking and face recognition. That's a PI that I have as well. People don't know. I've never mentioned him other than saying it this way because he does what he does best. And so, if, for instance, what he does best with face recognition, if Daniel's out there and he go to an ATM or some kind of way, and he get across any kind of camera like that, it'll pick him up really quick. But the thing is, and also he's an expert when it comes to human trafficking. So what I'm saying is, I had to investigate. When I do investigation, Katrina, it's always based on science. I tell you, I come from my children are scientists. I come from a science background, so that's how we look. When you hear our conversation, you son Daniel, his siblings, and myself, we have a conversation. Y'all be like, what they talking about? Because we like to talk about science stuff. We like nerds, like big nerds, you know. And things as we look at a life in that way, I look at certain things. Look at certain things that law enforcement say, and I start looking at it like, man, you know, I go back from common sense, and things that don't make sense, then it don't exist. So that's what I'm saying, Katrina.
Right. And that's good that you have that. Yeah, it's good that you do have that type of self. Because honestly, I would look at that and I would be like, okay, you know what I'm saying? So that's good that you have that. And you know, his siblings and things like that also are in that mind frame. Let me ask you this: how does Daniel's siblings handle this? You know, we always see you on the forefront, but we don't see them very often. Are they more quiet and work on the back end, or they say, "No, Daddy, you handle this"?
Oh man, that's one of those things. I talk to a lot of people about it, ask me that a lot. And you know, I'll go. If you allow me, I'm gonna say it this way, Katrina.
You don't have to answer that.
Yes, I will. What I'm saying, if you allow me to say it this way, though, some people say that you know, everybody handle their pains differently, and so, but I can tell you from my perspective, I say that to a certain degree. But what I can say is, when a person go missing, a loved one go missing, and you notice, Katrina, sometimes it can change the family dynamics, you know, in certain ways. Some things that you expect family members to do, they may not do it. And you know, what seems normal to you, you know, you don't see it in the family a lot of times. So you learn a lot. You learn a lot. Just like you never know how to approach a missing person case unless you have a missing person, right? Katrina, you know this as well. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to do next, and you're trying to find, you know, your loved one. You don't come with an instruction book, so I guess, you know, you never know till you cross that path how a family member will react in a situation like this, and you find out really quickly. So I can say it this way. So yes, that question, I mean, by myself doing this. Yes, I am, and I can tell you, with thousands of people in the desert, and I'm saying it this way because I'm having a lot, you guys. I have a lot going on right now in my head. With thousands of people in the desert, I still feel by myself, right? I often feel by myself. And it's not all about me. I chose to do this. I fight for my son, but you still feel alone, right? And so, with a bunch of people in your face doing interviews or whatever the case may be, you still end up feeling by yourself. So you have to push past that. So when I see, when it comes to family dynamics, I try to understand his mother. I try to understand my children, his siblings, and you know, of course, grandparents can't do much. They're really elderly people, so of course you don't expect that. But you know, I try to understand it. But you just have to just see it as just family dynamics, things that you have to deal with. Everybody have to answer for themselves. I only, like I say, when people ask that question, I just tell them, look, I only can speak about myself. I just know what I do. I love my son, and I'm not saying
Mm,
nobody else love Daniel because I know they do. What I'm saying is I love my son, and I do it, and I show it by actions. I'm a person that believe in faith. You know, I have a. If you guys ever, if I ever wrote a book about my life, you'll read that a story from my mother, who taught me faith. She's the first teacher of faith, and faith is an action word. And if you don't like, I talked to Daniel's mother before, and she says she believed that God's gonna bring Daniel back home, back to her lap or something, I guess. Um, I believe God gonna bring Daniel back home too, but I'm not thinking He just gonna make him fall on her lap. You know, you have to go out there and look for him. And so I'm a
right.
person of faith, and a person of,
Mhm,
I cannot hear a person say I'm a person of faith and they don't do anything. I cannot want a job in life
mhm,
and sit on the couch. Oh, I'm gonna get a job and I'm sitting on the couch. No, you got to go
right.
look for this job. So that's how I approach Daniel too, as well. It's a action. It's a faith is an action word. So I have to be on the ground. First of all, I'm a father. It's my birthright. It's my honor, and I'm supposed to do it as a father. That's first and foremost. You know, what I'm saying you have to go
That's
out there and protect your family, like you said just a while ago. That's what men do, and so I have to do this. There's no choice in
mhm,
that, and I want to do it
mhm,
because I love my son. But it's also faith.
mhm.
You know, what I'm saying, hey, look, I want my son back. I got to go look for him, despite of what law enforcement do.
Yeah. Mm. I I love the way you handled that. That was good. I like that because yeah, the family dynamics are definitely different uh, when you have a loved one missing. And I won't even get into what
Yeah,
I'm family dynamics, but
yeah. Sometimes people just
it
shut
is.
down.
It's
So, yeah,
I hear a lot of people say like yeah. I hear a lot of people say like when they lose a child, then they usually end up getting divorced and things like that. Yeah, it's some family dynamics that you would never think
it
in a
changes.
million years that that would
Yes, it does.
happen
It does. Yes.
at all.
Yeah.
It is. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about? And again, can you share with the audience what you and I can put the Please Help Find Daniel website back on if you want. But is there
Yes.
anything else that you would like to speak to the audience about?
I love the way that, yes, I do. I love the way that you're doing what you do, Katrina. And I told you that when I came to Indianapolis. Would you like to say Indy? And I can say, you know, I'm very pleased as well. I'm very honored and blessed to have been a part of your event that you put together. Put a great event together. I see the passion in your heart. You know, one of the particulars I told you about was really particular. I say, man, I should have been doing that at my events. Is when you gave me the gift bag afterwards. You know, thank you your guests for coming. You know, and I think even just that little small things shows the character of person that you are. But the thing is, I'm saying you really passionate about your sister, driving for, and your other family members. And you
Mhm.
know, you say a lot of other people, but you don't see the a lot of things that you're doing from the outside looking in at you. I'm like, man, that's an amazing woman. So I want to say thank you for doing what you're doing, give people like me and other families opportunity to share their stories. That's
Thank you.
important. That's very important, and you know the importance of that. And I'm sure that's the reason why you're doing it, is that you're sharing other people's story,
That's
even in your pain. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying, I tell people all the time, even in your pain, you help other people, because I know it's painful, and I know it's painful. I talked to you when you talk about
yeah,
Kaya, and yes, it's very painful, but you're still pushing to help other people, and that's honorable,
yeah.
and I really appreciate you doing that.
Thank you, thank you. Now let's go back to Daniel.
Yes,
What can the audience do to help? They can donate on the Please Help Find Daniel website. You can also print out those. You
the
call
flyers
them not flyers. What do you call them?
or the picket signs. Yes, for the protest. Yes,
Mm-mm.
mail-in protest.
Picket, picket
That's
signs.
right.
That's I like. Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
You can also print those, send them to those addresses that we had up on the Please Help Find Daniel, and go to Facebook, go to Instagram, follow him. He is always on talking about Daniel's case. Even if he's sitting in the car or he's sitting in his chair at home, he's
Yeah,
always talking about Daniel.
I want to say
I'm
one more
sorry. Go
thing. You
ahead. You
did
wanted
put
to
it
say
on. You
something?
did put it. Yes, you put one thing on alert that also that's very important. When I was out there in that desert, I've met people like Katrina, like Katrina. I met people like you out there in the desert with me, and people like you have pain, have missing loved ones, and was out there helping me
Mm,
search for Daniel, right? And so, long story short, that gave me a passion to help other families. I had the,
mhm,
certain events to highlight other families, to help them get their stories out, doing similar things what you're doing, Katrina, as well. And what I'm saying is, when I say we, Katrina, I know you agree with this, grow a passion of helping other families. And my job is to help other families because, like I
mhm,
say, going through, excuse if I can say this word, I hope it's okay with you. I went through hell with law enforcement, and I went through hell with trying to get Daniel's story out there as well as getting help out in that desert. I didn't have no help from law enforcement, so I don't want another family to go through that. So I want to be able to help a family any way that I can, and I know you do too. So what I'm doing in the future, and I'm not gonna go too far, Katrina, because
mhm,
you already know what those things are. I'm really trying to do more towards helping other families in different ways. And one of those things you have to do is, it's a lot of disparities. There's a lot of ways that law enforcement ain't doing certain things. And the way you combat that is to, and I like to use military terms, so you hear me say it all the time. The way you combat those type things is you 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 go to that source and you take out you go to the source and you work on that source. So and that source is some of the laws and things that's in place and the
mhm,
policies that law enforcement can hide behind and certain little things that would cause those disparities and also cause things like we saw tonight, the things that you see on a person's crime scene not being processed. If there had been, for instance, a police vehicle sitting there, you already know how that would have went. So it would have been no question of it being a crime.
mhm.
So we want things on an even playing field. So you got to go to the root of the source, and that's what I'm planning to do. So hopefully everybody who's listening right now can share as well that time when I make public some of the things I'm trying to do. You guys look out for that, and I'm looking for a lot of support with that as well.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that the change that we need to make with law enforcement and with missing persons, do you think that starts at the city level? Do you feel like it starts at a state level or a national level? Where do you think we need to start?
Yeah, and we talked about that, Katrina, and you remember that conversation. And I think a lot of that is a combination, but the more so the focus because of everything with human trafficking and everything together. Some of those things are highly related, and they kind of separate those and say, "Oh, the person is missing." And so I think it's a
Mhm.
federal level should be implemented a lot bigger force into missing person cases.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think how they say shit rolls downwards. If you start at the head,
It does.
everybody else gonna
Right.
fall in line. So
That's right.
I'm definitely in. Um, did we
I have a plan.
have any more pictures that we wanted to show?
Those the ones that I put on queue,
Yes. So
but I
you
have
guys watch him.
yes, yes, yes. Where are you?
I'm just so excited. Like I'm just like, yeah, watch him, follow him. You so y'all can see what's coming up next because it's some real boots on the ground type stuff. I like it.
Yeah,
Uh, but I won't go there. I can't help but smile.
yeah, and you know,
I
and
can't
what I'm
wait.
saying is,
Oh,
it do help. Yes, I really appreciate that. I know you know everything that's going to happen and happening, so I really appreciate your support too, Katrina.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. Um, dang, I was gonna ask you something else. Oh shoot, I lost it. I got so excited.
Oh, one person
Oh,
asked
let's
me
talk
about.
about CrimeCon.
Okay, Crime Con,
Do you
crime.
want to talk about that?
Yeah, I saw one. If I can answer one question really quick, I see Tiffany Tyler asked one question. Then I'm going to talk about the Crime Con, if it's okay with you.
Uh-huh, yeah, that's fine.
Oh yeah, okay, okay. Yeah, Crime Con. of course, in Nashville, we have a Nashville Crime Con. Was able to have been blessed, I could say, to be a part of Crime Con when it was in Vegas. I did also the Orlando, and then I should be doing this one coming up in Nashville. The first two, it was highly needed for Daniel's case. I was able to put thousands of flyers. You know how Vegas is. I have never been to Vegas I need a vacation, you guys, but I've never been there ever for any type of vacation enjoyment. So I was there too with my team, and we got out thousands. I mean, when I say thousands, you know, each box have oh my gosh, I want to say, oh man, like 10 or so thousand, 10,000 flyers or something around there. And we got rid of, I think, like 4 boxes, you know, just got flyers out, you know, those are tourists. And so I saw the
Wow.
flyers go out all over the place. It made me happy. I'm really happy about
Mhm.
that. But, you know, so it was really neat. And
Yeah.
I was able to share Daniel's story with a big stage. The second time in Orlando, pretty much the same way. I didn't get as much flyers out, didn't have my team with me, but I was able to get Daniel's story out there. This time, what is happening this year, I really can't jump the gun because we have some little surprises for on the back end. But I can be grateful for the Crime Con creators, for lack of word, the CEOs, those who created Crime Con, the owners, was able to put a team of people together to do some things. So look out for that this year in the Crime Con. We'll be doing some work to help other families and things like that. So I can't put exactly what those things are, but I can tell you guys that you should, if you're a part of Crime Con family or your true crime family, it'd be very beneficial if you come out there, especially if you have a missing loved one. I think you'll benefit a lot with the Crime Con this year.
Cool, cool. You wanted to answer Miss Tiffany's question?
Yeah, Ms. Tiffany, thanks so much for asking. That's what is your social media information. I can't just like Katrina said, it's all please help find Daniel, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. However, Twitter is a little different. That's the only one. Twitter is please help find #4. So everything's please help find Daniel. Twitter is a little different. Just please help find #4. So you know, Twitter wouldn't let me put the please help find Daniel. They cut it down to those limits, but so it's please help find 4 for the Twitter.
Gotcha, gotcha. Do you remember who this guy is right here on the oh goodness. Let me put
Yes,
it back
I met
on.
him that night.
Uh,
Yes, yes,
I'm sorry, I'm kind of going slow. Yes,
yes,
yes. Mr. John, oh yeah, we need to do that again. Thank you
yes, we
so
do.
much for
Yes,
being here,
that
Mr.
was really
John.
wonderful. Yes, sir.
And we've been on here an hour and 7 minutes. Is there
Yes.
anything else that you want to add?
No, well, just want to tell everybody, thank you, everybody, you know,
I thank
for
you, Mr. Robinson.
yeah, thank you for supporting Katrina and myself because we are and I'm speaking. I'm not trying to speak for you, but I know I'm sure I'm right. No, we're families of the missing, and I know a lot of people hear us right now that they have missing loved ones as well. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who is supporting people like us, me and Katrina, and you know, helping us with our families, helping us you know, get the story out and helping us help other families out there because a lot of families need our help too. So thank you, Katrina, for having me on. Thank you for bringing me out to Indy. I really appreciate it. I had a great time out there. I was able to get information out, and I learned a lot from during the
Absolutely.
event. I really thank you so much.
Yeah. And you can come on anytime you want. Just let me know. There's a lot of people saying Miss Tiffany said thank you. Miss
Yeah,
Sharon said, God
thank you.
bless you, Mr. Robinson. And
Thank you, Sharon.
I am going to go ahead and end this live. And I want to thank everybody for being on here, for asking your questions. Thank you, Mr. Robinson, for telling your story and for always doing everything you can to find Daniel. Again, you're a protector, and everyone sees that. Everyone sees that you're doing your very best to find your son. And I salute you. Mhm.
Oh, thank you.
And
Salute you
with
too. Thank
that,
you so much.
guys, with that, guys, good night.
Good night.